Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast. I'm Tyler Metcalf, joined as always by the one and only Tyler Rucker. Rucker, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Stay safe. Have yourself a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year around the corner. It's a magical time of the year. I'm doing good. Just plugging along, watching as much basketball as I can get my hands on. Football is kind of a nice little, distraction sometimes to balance out.
We play each other this week. I forgot about that.
I know.
We should
not house divided, but I guess friendship divided. So it's gonna be a tough one.
Podcast over, so
what did you say?
So podcast over after this.
Yeah,
week,
podcast.
so.
Podcast bet. No, it'll be exciting weekend, but been some good college hoops lately. I don't know if the 24 class is getting easier for me or more interesting. I'll put it that way. I think the gloves are off for me, Metcalf. I think I'm ready to rip some Band-Aids off. I put it on the line that I made fun of myself for the Justin Edwards preseason ranking. So I'm ready to,
we took a shot and we hit the side of the backboard. So
sometimes you got to take a shot, but hey, it is time, I think, to rip some Band-Aids off, get serious about this class. Not that we weren't before, but I'm done waiting on a lot of guys. There's still some that I'm patient with, but how are you doing? Everything good?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Good.
Christmas is favorite holiday of the year. Go all out. Absolutely love it. Made the rookie mistake of having to go to the grocery store today.
You can't do that. No, you got to go. I went Monday. You got to go Monday.
I forgot a couple things.
There's a good life hack. Go Monday when they open.
Yeah.
It was the best decision I've ever made. I felt like a genius. In and out, no line.
Yeah, well, my wife used up the rest of my creamer without telling me, so I didn't have coffee until midday today. So running on fumes. Had to go through the grocery store chaos without caffeine. I don't want to call myself a hero, but if you do, I'll accept it. Moving on. It is Christmas time, so we're going to have a little Christmas-themed episode where we kind of run through our favorite, quote-unquote, stocking stuffers of this draft. We've done this the last couple years, and these aren't the guys where it's the big present under the tree, the thing that you're freaking out about, the thing that you're so excited about, where if you unwrap it, it could change your entire life. Growing up, we all had those presents, whether it's a massive Lego set or a new gaming system or, whatever. But there are always little trinkets and toys and candy and stuff in the stockings that make the overall experience a little better. So these aren't, you can classify them as sleepers. You can classify them as deep cuts, whatever you want to go with. These are going to be guys who aren't at the top of draft boards, who aren't the highlights of the 2024 draft, but guys who are going to make the overall experience a little more enjoyable, a little more exciting, and guys who could be kind of surprise rookies who break onto the scene, or second-year guys who really break out, who end up going in the 20s or early second round or even later. So, Rucker, I'll let you start. Who is your first one?
I got a wide range of names. Trying to figure out who I want to start with first. I'm starting to fall in love with a guy for a prospect. I had to say that sentence correctly. And he plays for Arizona, so I'm sorry. Bear down. Big win last night over Alabama.
On my list too.
Yeah, no roll tide here. It's big win. Shout out to the worst refs I've ever seen in my life. I don't mean that seriously. It's just, I
didn't know you were watching the Timberwolves 76ers game.
Oh, yeah. I heard something about that. Mr. Embiid's pretty good, by the way.
He is very skilled.
Yes, very skilled. I'm going to go with, also Maxi's good. I'm going to go with Keshad Johnson.
He was on my list.
There we go. Metcalf already starting off. I'm really impressed with Keshad. I just think this is going to be one of those guys that probably makes some noise and starts to climb a little bit in draft circles when it comes to teams looking for some toughness, potentially maybe like a second round steal that you feel really good about. Smart teams might target him as maybe this guy comes in, brings some toughness off the bench in a rotation. I just love the way he plays the game. I feel like He transferred from San Diego State. He's around 6'8". He's big body, but he's lengthy. He's got bounce. He's nasty on the court. Like, he tries to posterize you whenever he can. I just think he checks a lot of boxes, and there's some good defensive versatility. He's shown the ability to get out there and, stretch the floor. I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited to keep watching him this year. And we have to remember too, like, he's playing on a really good team. If they make a deep run, he's just going to keep getting more exposure in front of a lot of executives and scouts. So I'm just a big Keshad Johnson fan. What about you?
Yeah, I was kind of slow to come around. You've brought him up to me a handful of times. I'm like, whatever. Like, he's fine. Like, he never really popped for me. And then these last couple games, it's like, oh shit, this dude can play. And he's got crazy bounce. He gets off the floor incredibly quickly. Really impressive vertical pop, but it's a lot of like the connective passing really stands out to me. Some of his entry passes to Ballo are absolutely gorgeous. They're kind of high-low game. Really good at changing the angles on bounce passes. He's not a high-level playmaker, obviously, but he's really adept at just kind of keeping the ball moving and just changing the angles and where the delivery point just a little bit to kind of make their accurate pass and do the right thing and make the right read. So I'm just going to run through some numbers with him currently. Effective field goal of 61.6, offensive rebounding rate of 11.1, defensive rebounding rate of 18.6, assist rate of 10.7, block rate of 3.5, steal rate of 2.9. Overall points per possession on synergy ranks in the 90th percentile. Spot up jumper is only 36th percentile, and he's only shooting 30%. But overall on the year, he's shooting 35.7% from three. So I think it's workable. It's obviously not going to be a go-to for his, but I think there are real signs where he can grow into a competent, corner shooter or trail guy where, just fast break, point guard makes just a little casual kickback. He can step into a three pretty confidently. Transition 84th percentile, cuts 100th percentile, offensive rebounds 69th percentile. He's just one of the more impressive play finishers on offense this season. And then the defense is really versatile, really explosive, really athletic.
You brought up a name when we were planning this show, and we just did a podcast episode on him. And could this be a Toumani Camara? Could this be one of those guys that's... I want to preface this like, this isn't like I believe in this, but at some point when you find a player like Keshad, I get to a point where I'm like, I don't give a crap if he's an undersized 4, or you know what I'm trying to say. Of like, Can he play basketball? Can he make your team better? And I watch him, and it's a very easy yes, with just so many areas of the game that he impacts. I mean, his motor is always on. He's, he had a play last night against Alabama where like Grant Nelson, who had a game, that was very sarcastic, went at him, and Keshad just ripped it from him. And like, after he ripped the ball, just looked at him and like barked at him. And it's just like, that's the mentality you're going to get. And yes, he's an upperclassman. He's a senior, but I think he's just a beast on the boards. The athleticism really pops. Like you said, he's a quick leaper, great defender. And I think he just plays every possession like it's his last, which is a dream. If you're a potential playoff team, or you're just trying to add a smart value pick. And I just think he's going to be a guy that keeps, we might look at boards and all of a sudden he's 38th. And then a couple months later, he's 33. And we're just like, hey, you never know. And I think if I heard something correctly, I think like he's already matched his 3-point total, or he's about to, from San Diego State or something like that. I don't know. We have to fact check that. See, that's why we need to get big. We need to have a fact check guy on the sides, shout out Bill Simmons with the TikTok camera. But I don't know. It's just an easy one for me. I really, really like his game. I think at some point in the draft, it's just a great, a great value, a great potential diamond in the rough, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. This year he has 28 3-point attempts. The last 2 years, he had 42 and then 33.
Okay, so I might have heard that a little bit off, but yeah. So I mean, like, he's on the path to
but and his percentage is up about 10% from where it was last year. So obviously, minuscule sample size can go any direction with that. Something I've struggled with Keshad is Keshad or Keshad?
I think it's Keshad.
Keshad. Okay, apologies. Who is he in the NBA? I know we don't like doing 1-for-1 comps of this is who he is, but it's important to kind of figure out. It's like, okay, is this archetype not in the league right now because that archetype just doesn't work unless you're one of the outliers, or is it something new? Or what is the ceiling of the kind of role that a guy like this can have? And I've kind of struggled to really put a pin on it. I think this would be a really high end outcome, but I'm just going to throw a name at you. Feel free to just throw it in the trash. Obi Toppin.
Yeah, I was going to say like the role of PJ Tucker, but he's not there shooting wise. But the thing with Keshad is he doesn't like force the threes. Like he's like, oh, if you're leaving me wide open, I'm shooting this. But he's also really good of being like, no, I'm open, but I can also work to get a better shot for my teammate. Like he's just a smart player on the court. So Obi's probably a good one. Like maybe Obi with a better floor for shooting. I don't know. That's our better upside for shooting. But these are type of guys.
Or is it just Toumani Camara?
That's what I'm saying. Is it just Toumani Camara, or it's just like we keep saying those guys find a way to stick around the league and carve out lengthy careers. I don't know. It's just the motor, the rebounding, the defensive versatility, and then if he could step out and just be respectable from outside, where like you have to get out there and at least contain him. I think some team's going to take a chance on that for sure. Gosh, there's a name now that I know exactly. I'm going to think of someone like an NBA comp later on because this is bugging me because it's like swimming in my head because I'm like, okay, veteran piece, end of a roster, kind of a strong, I don't know, like the Jay Crowders, like the guys like that, where it's like, you always want to find them. You're always trying to find those guys. So I don't know.
Okay.
Who's your first? Hit me with it.
Keshad was my first.
Oh, okay.
So just again, real original by you. Just stealing my my content. It's fine. All right, I'm gonna pivot and go with the guy that was pretty underwhelming at Hoop Summit. Drink. He's kind of the forgotten guy on this G League Ignite team. Point guard. I'm going London Johnson.
Wow. Wasn't expecting this.
So London's numbers aren't outstanding. They're astronomical. They're not, mind-blowing by any means. And he's currently averaging 11.2 points. Sorry, G League's stat layout is funky.
Yes, it is a nightmare. And I'm sorry for whoever was running their mobile app this year. Oh my gosh, I would not buy you a beer.
Okay, so he's at 11.2 points, 6.1 rebound or assists, 2.3 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 1.5 stocks, shooting 38.4% from the floor, not great, 37.5% from 3, much better, and just under 79% from the line. I
need to cut you off. I can't let that go. Okay, so backstory for everyone with why I can't stand the mobile app with the G League. Whenever you're looking at box scores or like stats, it's always usually in some order where it's like points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, blah, blah, blah. In like the beginning of the year for the G League, I don't know why, but like the mobile app, it would be like points, blocks, field goal percentage, steals, turnovers, 3-point percentage. And I'd be like, what in the world? I'm going to have a seizure of looking at this box. So, okay, there you go. I screenshotted it to the group once and someone was like, what in the world? I'm about to faint. So there you go. Go ahead, Metcalf. Sorry.
No, I know London Johnson's numbers on their own aren't going to blow people away, but I think he's been really sound, really consistent. and improved in a lot of areas that he kind of struggled in last year and that we were skeptical about coming into the year. I think his defense has looked a lot better. I think his spot up jumpers looked really good. He has an assist to turnover ratio of 2.91. He ranks in the 77th percentile in spot up scoring. He's not going to be I would be shocked if he's a big time starting point guard down the road, but he feels like the perfect kind of guy to run a second unit, to be that low maintenance facilitator who can play on or off ball, takes care of the ball, has better decision making and defense. He looks so much bigger than he did last season. So I don't think he's a first round. A lot of people don't even have him in their top 60. I do. I think he's solid. I'm just really impressed with the kind of steps that we've seen him take month over month over the last couple of years.
I think this is the year in which you got to start getting creative when you're talking about a lot of these guys that might get in the conversation for being on big boards or teams are going to be intrigued with. London would not shock me if there's just some teams that are pleased with what he's done. The Ignite has gotten off to a rough start. They've looked much better. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because now a point guard's come back. Like, and I know everyone's going to be like, well, the stats don't back that up, but it's like, no, someone's there to run the show, to put everyone in position. Like when they didn't have London, it was a nightmare. They had to go out and get another vet with Norris Cole. Like they've looked better. And I think London's kind of one of those guys we're probably underappreciating what he's been doing. Me and you commented watching one of the games where I was like, he looks like he put on 20 pounds. Like he just looked fantastic compared to when we saw him at Hoop Summit drink. And I do think that this could be one of those like, hey, if London has a couple strong games, maybe this fire starts to burn. Because I will tell everyone, like, talking around draft Twitter, I love you. I absolutely love draft Twitter. You guys are everything to me. The names everyone on draft Twitter is excited about, the NBA does not feel the same right now. Yeah. It is very loud when I ask around, and I'm asking, like, the guys I trust, I am asking viciously. I'm like, really? And they're like, no, I don't see that. I'm like, whoa, okay, those are big names that you're telling me. So it's going to get really interesting. It's going to get chaotic, and that's why I'm very excited for this year. And I think a lot of these guys we're going to talk about could be real risers. So London, I wouldn't get too married to the numbers. Like, obviously, at some point, we're going to need to see some good games. But
for sure,
it's one of those guys, too. You look up, he's like, oh, 7 assists. You know, he's just does a good job of playing his role.
Yeah, and from a backup point guard, it's kind of all you need. So who do you have next on your list?
Well, I mean, we had a fan asking if we were going to talk about someone. I will bring him up, just a quick one. I'll cheat. Otega Owe. Corey and Albert did an episode breaking down Otega Owe and Tyler Kolek. Mm-hmm. Make sure you guys check that out for an in-depth one. But I'll bring him up really quickly. I love him, Metcalf. I think he's making some noise. He's averaging 15, 4, 1, and 2.4 steals, shooting splits of 66, 71, 78, which are hilarious. The 3-point percentage, he doesn't shoot that much. So he had he started the year.
Attempts.
14 attempts. I think he started the year 4 for 4, and it's just been hilarious how it's just like barely going down. But he can just play. I think that's a guy that just is tough. He's 6'5", 210. He looks every single pound of it. Kind of a game wrecker. Just, I think, one of those upside guys that makes an impact, but looks like he's still got his best basketball ahead of him. So I'm a big fan of Otega. I know that's kind of probably cheating because I think he's climbing a little bit, but I would put him in a stocking. You know, that would be a very welcome stocking stuffer for me.
Yeah, I think I'm a little cooler on him than a lot of the people at No Ceilings. I'm intrigued. I think he might just be inside my first round. So like late 20s or early 30s, that kind of range for me right now. The defense is very fun. The fact that he has a steal rate of 5.1 is very encouraging. Love that. And then you go on Synergy and you look at his scoring efficiency numbers, and they're just absolutely bonkers right now. 97th percentile overall, 77th percentile spotting up, 94th percentile in transition, 73rd percentile on cuts, 99th percentile on all jump shots, 87th percentile around the rim. Those are crazy numbers. For kind of a wing to be shooting 71.2% at the rim, super impressive. I'm just not sure how real any of it is, because
I get it.
For him to be in the 99th percentile in jumpers does not line up with what I see on the film in terms of the mechanics and his confidence and what he is willing to and does take, where it feels like he passes up a lot of open looks. He's taken 22 jump shots on the year. So, a somewhat cold month, those numbers could plummet. But he's a bowling ball getting to the rim, really effective around the rim, really athletic, really high motor, really kind of tenacious defense. So there's definitely a lot to like. I need these sample sizes to get just a little bigger. Because I don't think the mechanics are necessarily there. I don't necessarily buy the shooting touch, but if it keeps going in, it keeps going in. And at the end of the day, that's all you can kind of base it on. So the fact that he has a 8.1 assist rate, also not super great, but they have Milos Uzan and Javion McCollum doing the majority of the ball handling there. So willing to give him a little bit of a pass there. Really interesting player. I'm just a little cooler among the group on him than I think most are.
No, I get it, because he's like a connecting piece that the numbers you would think like, oh, this crazy defensive shooter. And it's like, no, it's the outside shot is going to come back down to earth. But he's so powerful and really slippery through traffic. That's like, it's very impressive. I wonder if like it's almost Lou Dort vibes, but bouncier.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so like I think that's like his dream, is you could find like a combo guard, Lou Dort, Marcus Smart type of stuff, and be intrigued. Like if you were in a normal year, if a team got him like late first or early second, I think you'd be very ecstatic of just being like, hey, like we're buying into him being a real problem defensively, and he's got a spot in our rotation to be like the lockdown defender early on. I think you get excited. Maybe he's a guy that if you have a couple first round picks, you're like, there's our project. We get to work with him and be patient. But I understand why people will have hesitations, because it's freaky numbers. It is very freaky. Like he just had a 7 steal game.
Yeah.
That North Carolina game, they were struggling, and you look up and you're like, he's got 23. It's just, he's just one of those guys. But he is also one of those guys. He has 12 points. And then you look up and you're like, hit 7 steals too. Like he just impacts. So I'm like you, there's a lot of guys that I'm like, I need way more of a sample size. And he's probably on that list.
Okay. We'll move on to my next one after this quick ad break. Okay, we're back. Rucker, before I dive into this guy, let me know if this might be cheating at this point. This guy might have gone too good. Dalton Knecht. Has he risen too high to qualify for this at this point?
Yeah, but we can talk about him.
No,
we can talk about. No, let's talk about him. Well, how high? Where are you at with him?
13.
Where do I have him? I have him at 13.
You are so unoriginal.
I swear we don't
do your own work.
I just updated my board last night. The funny thing is, I think I moved them up and moved them up again. So the fact that we're right there, it's a weird. That's where my big board range gets weird. And I literally was just staring, and I was like, who deserves to be here? And then I was like, well, Dalton. I love Dalton. I said it on the last episode, I think. I was like, why am I not moving Dalton up? And I got to a point where I was like, to heck with you guys. I'm moving him up. So are we being crazy to move him up that much?
I mean, I don't think so. I think he's a legit athlete. Was he 6'6" wing, 3-level scorer, really good shooter, has shown an ability to create off the bounce, get to the rim, pull up in the mid-range, attack closeouts. assist rate isn't anything crazy, but he's shown an ability to kind of move the ball, make those kick out passes, play simple. He does so much for that Tennessee offense where it's like, why not? What is in this draft? Where is there a more appealing kind of 6'6" scoring wing? And I'm not necessarily sure where I see it. And obviously there are some names, so don't take that too literally. But when you talk about end of the lottery to late first round, I think his consistency, his scoring versatility, his athleticism just kind of consistently pushes him ahead of a lot of the names you're going to see in that range.
I mean, he's 6'6" with nastiness and can shoot the cover off the ball. He's averaging 16 and 4 on 46, 38, 80. And I think he's been playing through a couple banged up injuries. So I feel like those numbers are even more impressive. It would be an easy check for me. Is he Corey Kispert?
Way more athletic, not to dog on Kispert, but
no,
I believe more
in the same thing the moment I said it out loud. I said, but more athleticism.
I think his 3-level scoring ability is a lot higher too, where, I think Kispert has the ability to kind of do a low pump and then 2-dribble pull up. But I think Dalton has the ability to pump, snake through the lane, hit a mid-range fade, or get all the way to the rim. So yeah, and you see, you're just doing the classic white guy thing.
No, I'm not, because if you're white, you're Ben Affleck.
Facts.
My thing I'm doing is Kispert went 15th. I think he also went 15th, and we were all like that draft, like, hey, he could go top, 12 picks. But my point is, I will always say, at some point, when one of the best shooters is on the board, some team can't pass him up anymore. No. And if you're 6'6" and you can shoot and you have athleticism with that, I think someone will take the bait. I also think it's important. I believe in this year. Going to be kind of a downer. Don't compare this draft to other drafts. You have to be open-minded this year. For everyone listening, you have got to be open-minded this year. And I even asked an exec, I was like, is it crazy to think this way? Like, hey, I don't think you can compare this to other drafts. And the guy was like, yeah, you can't do it. This draft's going to be wide open. It's going to be chaos. And I just believe if you're going to try to compare, it's a good exercise. But if people are like, hey, where would you have Alexander Sarr compared to last year? Would he be in your top 5? I would be like, I don't think so. It's just it's going to be really wild. And that's why I'm saying, guys like Dalton Knecht, I could see going much earlier than we're expecting right now, December.
Yeah,
I really could. So, yeah, I think that's a good one. It's a little cheesy, but I actually like that. That would be like, holy crap, this is in my stockings. This is awesome. This should have been a powerhouse gift. So yeah, I like that.
All right. Just before we move on to your next one, little quick game of this or that.
Yes.
Modest or Knecht?
I have Modest right now, but
you can contact
I have
him
Modest.
At Tyler _
That's going to be I have Modest right now. I think Modest has looked good. I need Modest. The problem is I need Modest to start having the aggressiveness Knecht has, and then I'll be all in on Modest. But I don't know if that's there, and it might be because one's a senior and one's 19-year-old.
Okay. Knecht or Reed Shepherd, and I promise I'll move on to someone who's not a white dude after this one.
Knecht.
Knecht or Tijane Saloon.
Saloon.
Knecht or McCullough.
Oh, I might have them back to back. Knecht
or Wuga Poplar.
Knecht.
Okay. Who you got?
I'm not. Well, let's just talk about him. I had Wuga Poplar on my list. Okay, so where do you have Wuga?
I have Wuga at 20.
Can you get me to buy into the next leap? I moved him up. I have him 39. I can't get to the next leap. Why can't I get to the next stage? I put him as a stocking stuffer because I think if you got Wuga in the second round, you'd be very pumped on that flyer.
Yeah. All right. I'm just going to run through some numbers
Yes, here we go. Thank you.
So 6'5" shooting guard, offensive rating of 114, usage of 24.5, effective field goal rate of 63.5, true shooting percentage of 66.8, defensive rebounding rate of 16.8, 3-point percentage of 51 on 49 attempts, and he's taking 9.2 3-pointers per 100 possessions. It's a pretty high rate. Moving on to synergy, 85th percentile overall points per possession, spot up 79th percentile, transition 92nd percentile, pick and roll ball handler 97th percentile, all jumpers 87th percentile, catch and shoot 91st percentile, dribble jumpers 71st percentile, at the rim 93rd percentile. The dude just scores, and he's a really, really good athlete. I think the defense needs a good amount of work, not much of a playmaker, but I think similar to Knecht, he's really developed his 3-level scoring this year. I think he's a step behind in that realm, where I think the mid-range jumper and scoring has taken an improvement, but not quite as drastic of one as Knecht has. Rebounds the shit out of the ball, really good athlete. Defense is kind of what it is. It's not great, but that athleticism, that scoring, for him to still be shooting over 50% from 3 on that many attempts, really impressive. And I know there are a lot of people at No Ceilings who are just completely out on him, and I don't get it. If you have him in the second round, I get it, but I don't get the argument for being way out on him.
It's the No Ceilings crew. It's turning into a hornet's nest with some of these guys. Like I've never seen the gloves come off so much. Like there's been some very heated stuff. And I love it. I love every second of it. It's all love, but it's like we're all very passionate this year. And that's why we love this year, because it is a chaos factory. We're trying to argue about, like, does this guy deserve to be in the first round, or is he mid-second round? And everyone has like a very passionate case. Who is Wuga? Like, give me a name.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Okay. That gets me excited, actually.
All right, Malik Beasley.
Without the off-court stuff?
Well, hopefully.
Wuga, Chaka, Wuga. Okay. All right. I'm going to try to watch again. See what happens. The U. Who you got next? And to back you up, I that's why I believe he's a stocking stuffer, because if he keeps playing like this all year, Wuga's going to go in the first round. His numbers are freakish. It's ridiculous.
There are some people who have him like lottery. I can't get there.
That's another leap right there. That's like 2 leaps from where I'm at. But I understand. He's producing. He's got good size, and he can shoot the cover off the ball. Like, I get it if you're buying into a lot of the stuff. This was also a draft Twitter darling last year, and I was like, I'm not there yet. Let's wait. He looks very intriguing. But now I'm just like, I'm 1 leap away from getting into like dangerous territory where I'm like, you're on the verge of being in my first. So just being patient.
Yeah. And I can definitely understand that. Okay. Let's go to my next one. Guy I actually wrote about for tomorrow's or Friday's article over at noceilingsnba.com. It is free. Donovan Dent, point guard from New Mexico. I love this dude. I think he is the best playmaker in the country right now. I think his assist rate is something like 39% or something. It's like 14th in the country right now, and he has the lowest turnover rate among everyone in that kind of 38 and up range, aside from Reese Beekman, who is at like a 10 turnover rate, which is obscene. But really good athlete. His playmaking creativity and accuracy is astounding. He really feels like 6'2" Sharif Cooper.
I just love how much you use Sharif Cooper with him. So for everyone, here's a little Donovan Dent background. Last year as a freshman, played 18 minutes. I don't want to spill too much because I know Metcalf's writing about him tomorrow at noceilingsnba.com. It's absolutely free. Last year as a freshman, he played 18 minutes a game, started 2 games, averaged 5, 2, and 2 on 50, 21, 68. This year, he's 16.8 points, 3 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 1.8 steals on 52, 37, 64. Now, Metcalf's playing a lot of fun clips for the YouTube live fans with us, which you guys are just absolutely fantastic. It's always awesome to read the comments in the chat. Donovan's fun, man. It doesn't take long when you're watching his film to all of a sudden see a couple plays where you're like, my goodness, just really good feel. I feel like another guy that just really makes you play to his speed, which I feel those are my favorite guards, when you can just tell that they're like, I can speed this up, but I don't need to because I'm going to bring you down to my level. He's just fun, man. Is he this year guy, Metcalf? Yeah, I mean, that was...
I'm sorry, I can't help myself.
No, but for everyone not seeing it, it was just vicious, one-handed cross court. Is he a this year guy? How close are we to getting to a this year guy? Is it like him in the 40% and getting to like 18 a game? Are we like, hey, Donovan, stay one more year and break out? Or is this the year you go? That's going to be a fun wrinkle. A lot of these guys, someone might be like, go. This is the year.
Yeah, I think you just kind of go right now if you're him, because this class is what it is.
But this is a guy that goes and has a good draft process and goes 24th.
Yes.
Because some teams just like, yeah,
we're in. Fuck it. Why not?
We're in. Or 18th.
Yeah. And I just like, is he really 6'2"? I think that will be really fascinating to see if he's at legitimately 6'2" or more like 6 foot, 6'1", because it's really hard to make it in the league at 6'2", and most of the guys that do, I kind of break it down in my piece, but most of them that do are either kind of defensive specialists like Davion Mitchell or TJ McCollum, or kind of seasoned vets like that too, or they're elite shooters like a Seth and Steph Curry or Trae Young, these kind of end all be all offensive creators, and Dent's not there because the shot's not there, and I think the shot is pretty rough right now, where kind of comes out flat. He doesn't really elevate on it, but I think his mechanics aren't necessarily broken. I think it just needs reworking, but then you look at the free throw percentage, the willingness to shoot, the volume, they're all kind of pretty negative indicators of what it could turn into. But he's awesome around the rim too. And he's 56% at the rim for a 6'2" guard.
That's a big number.
That's really good. So, obviously you would like that to be 60 plus, but that's when you're getting into the realm of, guys who are the more 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", kind of more point wing type players. So, I think that 56% is just a little bit behind where Isaiah Collier is and a little above where Tyrese Proctor is. So it's not like it's bad by any means. So the guys that are getting talked about as first round guards, that number alone is similar. And obviously it's different competition, all of that. Does it translate? Who knows? But the shot's going to be the big thing with him. And it's like, does it take any step in the right direction as the year progresses? And if not, then, we might just have another sub 6'3" point guard who's a phenomenal playmaker, who doesn't quite make the bill.
I get it. I'm pretty pumped to read that piece because I do know he's a popular name. He's someone scouts are circling around. He got on the radar quick, and I think now is the important time to where, like, okay, now people are going to come see you.
Yeah.
And if he could keep producing, we got conference play starting for some teams next week. It's a big upcoming month for a lot of these teams, a lot of these prospects.
Absolutely. Do you have any more? Or you want to dive into Coulibaly?
I'll do one more because we have fans asking about the Coulibaly stuff. I'm gonna make your eyes roll. Jared McCain, baby. I'm in. I'm back in. I never stopped loving Jared McCain. This is why we be patient with a lot of these prospects, because all of a sudden something happens and, we never root for injuries, but Tyrese Proctor goes down. Next man up. Who's going to step up? A lot of us thought it was going to be Caleb Foster. Jared McCain's played great for them lately. I just think this dude is a hooper. He's been a solid connector that makes winning plays. He's averaging 18 a game in his last 3 games with 3 rebounds, 2 assists, shooting splits of 59, 52, 100. I'm not saying Jared McCain's like, oh gosh, here we go, like buckle up. I'm just saying we need to start watching closely because I think Proctor's kind of getting close to coming back. But is this now like Jared McCain surging with confidence? And even with Proctor back, he's going to be feeling good. If he's shooting it like this from outside, it's a whole different player. It's just a guy I really like. I think this is a name to keep an eye on. I'm going to be fascinated if he starts to get a little bit of buzz. Because we thought, there's a lot of these guys that are really talented freshmen. We thought we're going to be saying, hey, they're a next year guy, but maybe McCain's one of those guys. Like we talked about Keshad Johnson at the start of the show. Maybe he could be one of those that's slowly creeping up. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really good to see him kind of hopefully turning a corner. I've dropped him pretty far in my rankings, and most of that is due to I just not quite convinced that he's a this year guy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he ends up being a this year guy, and that the shooting consistency maintains. And then if it does, it's like, okay, good. The things that I wanted to see from you this year are starting to come to fruition, and we're getting there a year earlier than the first month of play suggested. So that's good for everyone. Very excited to see how the rest of his kind of season goes, especially like you said, once we get into conference play. All right, let's take our final ad break and then jump into Bilal Coulibaly. All right, Rucker. So segment we started last week, rookie roulette. Who is the fan who DM'd you that name? I want to make sure if we give them credit.
Oh, I got. I'll find it. Okay,
son but
gun.
Basically, in case you're new, we're just every week we're taking a virtual wheel, spinning it, and it's going to land on a rookie, and we're going to highlight that rookie and what they've done this year. Kind of go through what we've liked, what we haven't liked, what they've done, what they haven't done, opportunity, where we were at preseason, where we were at with them in terms of draft stock, all of that kind of stuff, because it's really important to, when you're doing this draft stuff, to kind of figure out where guys are going and whether that matches your evaluation or where you've missed. So Bilal Coulibaly, 6'8", 195-pound wing. He was Victor Wembanyama's teammate with Metropolitans 92. Really came onto the scene about midway through last season and then just exploded in terms of draft stock. He ended up being the number 6 overall pick by the Wizards, who actually traded up for him. He ended up 14th on our final no ceilings big board. I think he was one of the more polarizing guys in that draft among our group, where some had him around 20, others had him up around 5. Some of the conversations and debates that we had over him were really, really fascinating. But he's currently averaging 9.4 points, which is 9th among all rookies, 4.1 rebounds, which is 9th among all rookies, 1.7 assists, which is 14th, 1 steal per game, which is 2nd, 52.1, 41.6, 63.8 shooting splits, 20, all of that in 26.9 minutes, which is 6th. Most of his offense is coming off ball, where he's scoring 1.149 points per possession, which is in the 73rd percentile overall. Shooting 79% or 79% of his jumpers are coming off the catch, and he's shooting 40.7%, and all of them are from 3 in those situations, which ranks in the 76th percentile with 1.22 points per shot. Shooting 80% at the rim, 96th percentile, shooting 55% on corner threes, 90th percentile, block rate of 0.9%, ranks in the 78th percentile for wings, steal rate of 1.7% ranks in the 82nd percentile for wings. He's getting fouled on 13.3% of his shot attempts, which ranks in the 92nd percentile. And of those shots, he's converting 42.9% of those into and one opportunities, which ranks in the 91st percentile. The on-off differentials. Sorry, these are a lot of numbers, just trying to highlight all of it at once.
Take your Tylenol, folks. Take your Tylenol. It's okay.
The Wizards have, when Coulibaly is on the court, the Wizards net rating is plus 0.4 points higher than when he's off. Their offensive rating is 0.7 lower, but their defensive rating is 1.2 lower. Not a whole lot of playmaking and on-ball creation. Turnover rate of 19.7% ranks in the 4th percentile, and his assist rate of 8.3% ranks in the 28th percentile. Sorry, that was a lot, but just kind of wanted to highlight the role that he's had and some of the really absurd finishing numbers and scoring numbers that he's produced this year.
I have to give the shout out. Toyloy Brown III.
Yes.
Commented on YouTube. We love the YouTube comments because there's a lot of negative ones too. It's always a fun battle, but it's always cool when fans give us some ideas. And I was like, that's fantastic. And then he DM'd me and I was like, that's awesome. You know, like we love when you guys do that. We're always like, hey, DM us. We'll talk hoops whenever you want. And it was cool to talk to him. And I was like, thank you so much. We'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Focusing now. Bilal. He's damn good, folks.
Yeah.
He's good. He's great. He is right on cue. Like it is perfect for his development. Now I need every Wizards fan, diehard Bilal fan, just stay with me for a sec. Metcalf read off a lot of numbers. A lot of them are very impressive. I know there's a lot of Wizards fans being like, play him more or just take over. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't change a damn thing. His confidence is building. He's looking like he's ahead of curve. Yeah. He is ahead of the curve for what I was expecting Bilal as a rookie. He's in a great position, and this is the most underrated part of a team like the Wizards right now. Like, yes, I know they struggle. That's fine. He's getting playing time. He's getting consistent reps as a rookie that not a lot of rookies get. And you're seeing the plays starting to be really solid. I was watching his film and sorry, I haven't watched every Wizards game this year. So when we get to do segments like this, I'm like, great. I get to watch Coulibaly and see what's been going on. And obviously I've been tracking him before, but his shot looks good, Metcalf. He also looks like this is the most important thing, I think, for these really young rookies is can you make the game simple for them early on? Can they make the game simple? I think he's understood I could play good defense. If I'm open, just be aggressive and confident with my shot. I love everything I've seen from him.
Yeah.
I think the dream is he just stays playing like this all year. Off season, finds a great fitness weight trainer. They become best buddies. He puts on 10 pounds, weight gain season. And I think your dream of if you're a Wizards fan, he plays 2 summer league games. And they literally just be like, we're done. Shut him down. He looked fantastic. Just shut him down. We don't care. We don't need to see another thing. And from there, I don't want Wizards fans or us to get unrealistic with like, he's going to turn 20 in July. He's still stupid young. Just let him add a little bit to his game each year. Like let him, don't expect Coulibaly next year to be like, oh gosh, he's in the all-star running. No, let's just start to get some more on-ball stuff next year. Start to get a little bit more. And then you are really cooking with something interesting. And I wanted to ask you, Metcalf, because I was looking back at past drafts and I'm trying to figure out Coulibaly. And I'm like, who does he give me vibes of? Because they're the lengthy defenders with upside offensively that you're like, this could be a really special defensive talent. And I was like, is this like the Michael Bridges, Jaden McDaniels? Are we on that path? But I have to preface that of saying like McDaniels had a lot more of an offensive bag coming out. Mikel was spent multiple years at college, was a problem. Still one of my favorite guys I've ever evaluated. Okay. So like I'm saying, is he on that path where it's like, you know, we're years away, but this is the dream path. It's like he gets on that one and you're like, oh gosh, this is a 2-way monster. Is there any other names I'm missing? I was even like Harrison Barnes maybe, but I think he's just a freak of nature compared to Harrison. And Harrison was dunking on people. But you get my point. Like Bilal in transition is like a deer. It's like a lion, attacking prey when you put on a Discovery Channel. It's just really cool to watch. Sorry,
no,
PETA, don't come after me, please.
The really high end comp that I kind of keep hoping for with him is OG and Anunoby, because I think he plays with that kind of similar level of physicality, that athleticism, mostly off ball role. And I know OG is obviously grown on ball, but we haven't seen much of that from Bilal yet, and I think for good reason, because there are flashes of it when he was playing over in France, but most of that came against lower level competition, and most of his on ball stuff with when he was playing with Victor came solely in transition, and otherwise he was mostly off ball, and that's kind of what we've seen him. They're seeing the role that he's executed and being put in right now, which I think is absolutely perfect for him. The shot is way better than I thought. I thought it took really good strides throughout last year. It does still look really slow, but he's really focused. It looks like he's really focusing on keeping his mechanics sound and consistent. And I think that's more important right now than ensuring that it's a quick release. And it's paying dividends. I mean, he's over 40% from three right now off the catch. That's really, really impressive and way higher than I thought it was going to be. If he's going to get to that next legit 3-and-D level, starting wing, fringe all-star wing, obviously this is a couple of years from now, but the speed of the release is going to have to improve. Other than that, I mean, he just plays a really simple style on offense. There isn't much playmaking, and they're not relying on him for that right now. Maybe it's something that comes along in the future, but his ability to get from point A to point B, really impressive, really good athlete, really physical. The physicality of when he gets around the rim, and then the touch and ability to adjust around the rim and finish through the contact is way, way farther along than I thought it would be right now. Defensively, this is kind of who he was last year too. And yeah, it's translated a little quicker than I may have anticipated, but it's not a surprise. So he's really looking like the guy that a lot of people hoped he could turn into. I think I was a little lower on him and a little more skeptical just because we hadn't seen a ton of sample size from him at a higher level. So it's like, okay, how quickly is all of this going to come around? And he's proving that he was fucking ready right away, and that the time that he spent in those lower levels may not have been necessary. Coming into the draft last year, where were you at with him? Because we had done a couple episodes last year, but did you see this happening this quickly, or were you thinking more next year kind of thing?
I mean, you bring up a good point about was it necessary to be in the lower levels? I actually think it was for him, because he was dominant in those levels. Like watching Bilal's lower level film, he looked like Michael Jordan playing out there, just because it was just a clear mismatch. Like I did a midterm on it, and I was like laughing watching the games, because it would just be like he'd go down the middle of the lane and just be dunking on everyone, and I was just like, holy crap. But I think it was necessary for his development to get this feel of confidence of like, look at all the stuff I can do. I'm experimenting out here. Then he gets brought up to play with Victor, earns his role defensively, which was humongous for his development, because we're seeing it now. And I think that's where he started to really feel like, okay, I belong up here. I thought it was going to be a slow beginning of the year, and maybe post All-Star break, he started to get some extended playing time, and we're like, okay, this is an exciting offseason coming up for Bilal. But this is what I think is perfect when you understand, when your coaching staff, your developmental staff, your organization is all realistic. And I think it's so important to just be like, let's just play the damn kid. And like, hey, he's going to have growing pains, but let's just play him. He'll figure it out. And you don't pull him every time he makes a mistake. Like, just let him play. And I think that's so underrated and important. And, you look back at his game logs, his first 17 games. Now, I know the minutes have started to climb, so just bear with me. He had 6 games where he had double-digit points. In his last 8 games, he's had 7 games where he's finished double-digit. So, it's just starting to come together. And I know the minutes are going up, but it's because he's earned it. And it's because he's been consistent. And yes, I know they're getting blown out a lot. So he was getting minutes because of that, but it's still we're getting to a point where he should be playing more. I'd prefer him over Jordan Poole, but that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I was very cautious on the late humongous rise.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just me. I asked around, and guys were like, he's a talent. He's a legit talent, but people were like, the range I'm hearing is very rich for me. And right now, Metcalf, yes, Victor's been great. Chet's been great. Bilal's one of the most impressive rookies this year.
Mm-hmm.
I really do feel that way. He's been an absolute stud. And I think Washington should be very pumped up to just keep doing what you're doing with this kid. He's going to be a really good piece for this organization. They just don't need him and Jordan Poole hanging out in the offseason.
So going forward for the rest of this year, what are you kind of hoping to see from Coulibaly? Because his shooting numbers right now are astronomical and probably not sustainable, especially if he continues to get more minutes and defenders start kind of respecting the shot from out there a little more. I'm really fascinated to see what happens when he gets run off the line, how or if he's able to kind of create for others, get to the mid-range maybe a little more. Would you like to see them develop or try and throw him more on ball? Because their season's basically over right now. So do you want them to experiment with him more on ball, or just kind of keep him in this role and really build that confidence of being, a potentially elite wing defender down the road while being a really effective and off-ball scorer, and really honing those skills and work on the on-ball stuff during the offseason, and to in an attempt to build the confidence now instead of potentially tear it down?
I definitely would like to see at a point. I think post All-Star break is one of the more underrated times of the year for teams like this when it comes to developing. The last couple months of the season are always such just fool's gold. We always say all of a sudden the guy starts playing well and you're like, yeah, well, who's he playing against? The Nuggets playing all their backups and stuff like that. What I'm trying to say, it's always take it with a grain of salt. But I think for young guys, it's really important to build some confidence going into that offseason. Like you're saying, I think, the next steps for Bilal would be yeah, let's put the ball in his hands. I'd love to see if Washington got to a point where they're we're starting him and playing him heavy minutes. Now, I don't know who's going to be put on the bench because they got some names there, but I think getting some on-ball stuff, just trying to see if the playmaking could develop a little bit, because last year when I watched his lower level stuff, he can do some stuff with the ball in his hands. He really has that ability, and he has that wiggle where he can get downhill, and there was some good flashes playmaking. I was like, there's something there to unlock. So I would want to see if they could just showcase that a little bit more, because next year, I think the dream for him is he starts developing a little bit of I can create and get that step back. And I know hey, we see some flashes of it, but I'm saying you could get to that mid range, you could get to that counters, and he's taking people to school off the dribble. But what about you? I mean, what would be your dream for the rest of the year? Is it getting the assist numbers up, or is it just showcasing a little bit more of an offensive bag?
I really think it's just increase the minute load, increase the opportunity, but kind of keep him in a similar role. Maybe this seems foolish given, the growth and impact that he's shown over the last, calendar year now. But I would really want to just kind of establish him as this absurd defender, who's just creating havoc and making life really difficult for everyone on the perimeter, and then continue to grow that his comfort level shooting off the catch and cutting and crashing the offensive glass, while sprinkling in a little more advanced stuff attacking closeouts, because I don't necessarily think he's going to be a primary or even secondary initiator down the road. Maybe he gets there and I'm underselling him, but I think those are skills at this point in his career that are better served maybe being worked on in the off season and then coming back next season and really kind of taking a leap in that area. But right now, and that team sucks. And if you can find a bright spot and a developmental, feel good story, it's with him. And if you can kind of keep growing the off ball stuff, if he can keep that catch and shoot number, it's currently at 40.7%, I think, from three shooting off the catch. That's incredible. If he can keep that above 38% for the rest of the year, I'd be ecstatic if I was with the Wizards organization. And if you can kind of keep that going, because that shows him that that's a solidified role for him. At bare minimum, he's a high level 3-and-D guy, and it builds the confidence in his mechanics. It builds the confidence that, okay, now I can work on speeding up the release. Now I can work on, escape dribble sidestep stuff from the perimeter to kind of beat these aggressive closeouts. Then you sprinkle in some more second side creation, some, drive and kick opportunities, stuff like that. So I think for this year, really just perfecting that 3-and-D role for him right now to kind of solidify that just base level of, hey, you're an awesome, just all around wing right now. And then in the future, now we can start building on those skills.
I completely agree. I mean, I know I said the playmaking and stuff, but I think the realistic dream is I would want to play him more minutes, and he keeps doing this exact same thing and perfects it. And then in the off season, grab him and be like, we're only working on ball handling, your counters, your creation, send him to Drew Hanlon. I don't care. But just a complete off season of focus on okay, now we're unlocking this part of your game. And then you have the 3-and-D with a little bit of upside there. And then the next off season, you unlock another part. And then he might be a guy, Metcalf, in which we're dreaming low with the upside. Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for him, but it might be even higher than we're thinking. Like he could be an all-star. He could be one of these two-way demons that's a really special talent.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting to feel that way about him until year 3, maybe
me too.
4. And that's why I had him at the end or just outside of my lottery, because I was like, I just think it's going to be a multi-year process, and it still obviously is if we're talking about all-star level, but his immediate impact is way, way, way higher than I anticipated. But we to figure out where we're going in the 2024 class, we have to figure out where we've been. So, is there anyone in this class that kind of reminds you of Bilal Coulibaly, or kind of gives you potential vibes?
I actually love the way you do this each time. Go ahead. Sorry, I think this is a great segment.
There are 2 names that kind of give me a little bit, but I am curious if there are any for you.
Saloon.
Oh, okay, interesting. He wasn't one of them.
Saloon's doing some shit. People need to buckle up.
Where do you have him?
I have him at 11.
Okay.
And I feel fantastic about it. I just watched he's on fire right now. I watched the last couple of game stretch, and he's doing some shit. He's so much fun because he's a Tasmanian devil at 6'10". If they're listing, I don't think Richeche is 6'10". I think he's going to be closer to 6'8".
Yeah.
And if Richeche is 6'10", then I think Saloon's 7'3". It's just he's way bigger on tape, and he's got. I think I read Wu and Gavoni's write-up, and they said Saloon was 6'10" with a 7'2" wingspan. That would check out to me. He's a Tasmanian devil, super fluid, just high energy, high motor. Like, where the hell do you want me? I'm there. Like, just all over the place. It's a bundle of energy of wanting to do it. And now he's starting to shoot, and now he's starting to figure out where to put himself off the ball, away from the ball.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting scary. It's getting really, really cool. So if like he keeps this up for a couple more games and this is trending in this direction, Saloon's going to go up fast. Yeah. Like I just really, he's got the high arcing shot too. The 3-point shots look good. He's just been efficient from deep. I think he just was 4 for 5 from deep one game. Like, he's just been impressive. So Saloon's probably one of those guys, but Coulibaly's tough because that was a holy crap type of climb in about 2 months?
Yeah, it felt like it.
Who did you think?
So the two names that popped to me, you said one of them in Zachary Risochet, and then kind of Ryan Dunn, on more so on the defensive side. Dunn's offense obviously still has a long way to go, but his ability to attack the rim, really be efficient and effective scorer around there, and then just be an absolute chaos agent on the defensive end. Those were kind of the two names that really stood out to me, where they have that size, they have the length, they have the two-way kind of versatility, or at least potential.
Someone in the chat was asking about Ortega. We talked about Ortega earlier. Yeah, obviously I could see that. Pacome, Daddy 8. Yeah. Another name. He would need to get to a point where Ratio starts playing him heavier minutes, but that could be one of those like holy crap out of nowheres. I don't know.
I don't think there are many in this draft.
It really isn't. There's not a guy that's just like out of AJ.
Well, I'm more so talking just like play style.
Play style. Like, okay.
Like when we get to the draft guide and we're doing our player chemistry, would you put Bilal down for any of these guys? I don't think Cody will. I think Cody Williams plays a completely different style.
Cody's like the offensive version. Kobe Johnson, no.
I don't think there are many. I
no,
think
there's not.
The wings in this class are tough, and I really think that. Sorry to name two French guys in Saloon and Risochet, but I think those guys in Dunn are probably the clearer ones.
Right now, I would say it would not shock me if there's 3 French players in the top 10.
Yeah.
Sarr, Risochet, Saloon.
Yeah.
And Richichet's climbing up my board. Saloon's climbing up my board. Sarr, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine. We're having fun. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. We'll leave it there. Let's move on to just wrap up this episode with our typical 2 segments. First up, what's the best thing in basketball that you've seen recently?
Oh man.
Sorry. Pivot back. Jump the gun. We got to figure out who we're talking about next week.
Oh yeah. You got to play the wheel.
So, yeah. Let me bring up the wheel. That's my
rookie
bad.
roulette.
All right. Here we go.
Big money, big money. Give us something good. Give me something good. Holy crap.
There we go.
Yes. Detroit basketball. At least they can celebrate something. Boom. I'm here all week.
Okay. So next week, we got to start Thompson.
Powder keg.
That'll be fun.
Woo. All
That'll be fun.
Coffee just kicked in. I thought it was Chet, and then Asar is just as great. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fantastic.
We're gonna have a blast with that.
A lot of pain to watch through that film, but a lot of pain. I'm kidding. Sorry, Pistons fans. Oh man, I had a Pistons fan DM me today, say, is the top prize gonna be worth it? I was like, oh, buddy. Ooh, how much time do you got?
Okay. Now pivoting into our final 2 segments. What's the best thing you've seen in basketball recently?
I'm trying to get away from doing the typical, like we just talked about the Celtics and T-Wolves. So, oh man, what is the best thing in basketball I've seen recently? Do you have one on the top of your head?
I'm gonna go with Rylan Griffin and his performance against Creighton the other day. I thought he was really, really impressive. He just looked really comfortable. Game looked slow to him. His off-ball offense in terms of knocking down spot-up threes and attacking closeouts, creating for other people, and then just the defense looked good. It was a really sound performance that I'm hoping that he continues to build on. I know a lot of people were kind of intrigued with him last year as a freshman. He's, sorry for reference, sophomore shooting guard from Alabama. Kind of a quiet start to the year for him, but hopefully this is the start of things to come.
Yes, Missy against Filipowski was it was a magical experience. That was pretty fun to watch. I'm going to give a shout out to Kaderi Richmond of Seton Hall. Upset UConn. Klingon, I hope you're healthy. Gosh dang it, foot injuries. But Kaderi posts 23, 6, 5, and 8 steals on 8 of 17 to upset the number 5 team in the country. Pretty badass for a senior. Love to see that stuff. He's been one that I feel like draft Twitter's just always fooled around with and then puts those numbers up and you're just like, yeah, that's why people liked him before. Never know what those guys all of a sudden end up in the G League and find a way to make it on a roster. But it was just badass. Like, that's a statement game that you can hang your career on for playing at Seton Hall and do it against the number 5 team in the country. So I thought that was pretty awesome. By the way, the dime from Garway DeWall, I'm moving him down my board, but that dime in that game was fantastic. We had someone tag us on Twitter. It was like, I need an episode about the Garway assist. And I was like, yeah, that was beautiful. So that was sweet, but I have moved them down. So, I'm tired of, I'm tired. I'm ripping the Band-Aid off on a lot of these guys. If I move them back up, I'm moving back up. But what else? Tyler Smith was great in the last Ignite game. I wish they would play him more than like 18 minutes.
Save some of these for next week. God,
no. Come on. I'm ready to roll now.
Oh, good. It only took an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, only took a little bit. I don't know what else.
That's it. I just need one thing from you. Okay, I don't need your entire weekly.
Well, the fans were fantastic in the chat. I had to give them some love. So someone said, here he goes, a good comment. Will the Pistons beat the Salt Lake City Stars tonight?
God, I hope so.
That's a good one. So yeah, I mean,
all right. Last segment of the night. The most exclusive club.
Oh, I didn't update the graphic, but it's okay.
Classic. The most exclusive club in the basketball world. The No Ceilings Green Room. No more than 14 people get in.
Yeah, so we have... Okay, so who was it last time?
So
is that the correct list?
Currently, we have in Jacoby Walter. No, because you did not update.
Topic is in now. Yes, okay.
So we have Jacoby Walter, Alexander Sarr, Ron Holland, Stephen Castle, Donovan Klingon, Adem Bona, Zachary Reese-O'Shea, and Nikola Topic.
Topic is in the list. Okay.
Topic is in. So,
and Garway is out of line?
Yeah, I think, you know what? Garway's out of line. Before we nominate anyone to get in line or even go in, anyone you want to boot?
From the guest list or just in line?
No, from those who are in.
No. No. Well, you talk to me.
Donovan Klingon is close for me. And I know he just had a monster performance, but...
Well, if Klingon's close, is Bona close? Why isn't Bona close?
He is. But Bona's playing. And he's not a 7'2" guy who's 280 pounds with multiple foot injuries. So we don't have to boot him. We don't have to.
I'll boot him. I'm in. I'll boot it.
Let's put him in yellow.
No, I'll boot him. We can't have injury risk in the club. We can't do it. I'll boot him. He's out. He's in line.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Klingon's in line.
Fine.
That was tough. It's tough. He's also
Sorry,
just
Donovan.
getting out of hand. He's been becoming a loose cannon. We can't. Yeah, he keeps rolling his ankle on the floor on the dance floor. We can't do it. Our security guys can't pick up a 280-pound guy all the time.
Are we going to be able to get to 14 guys?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think
That'll
we're
be
doing a good
fascinating.
job of removing and then putting back. So okay, so Klingon's out.
Okay. So we'll put him in line.
Yeah, he's in line.
Okay. So
I'm gonna have to start putting the guys that go back into line in like yellow or something. That makes more sense than just for tracking purposes. Just talking to myself.
Is there anyone you want to put in line?
Man, I don't know, Metcalf. I really don't.
We don't have to. We don't have to.
I mean, Dillingham or Ryan Dunn? I did 3 Kentucky guys in line's absurd. So if we do Dillingham, it's going to have to be a swap for me.
I think Justin Edwards needs to go.
I think Justin Edwards got to go home.
Yeah. I'm okay with replacing Dillingham with him.
Okay. It's settled. I'll make the updated graphic for next week. I know we're still talking. Okay, so Dillingham's in line.
Correct. All right. Who are we putting in? Anyone?
I gotta show it again. I gotta look.
So
Topic is in. Also, by the way, I mean,
so Topic is in the club. We also have Dalton Knecht in line and Tyler Kolek in line.
Oh, that's a big one. Thank you. That was a big one. Shout out to Corey for
was awesome.
His article today. A lot of swear words. Use some bad language words. My vote to get in would be either Cody or Dalton.
Ooh.
I would probably say Cody. I know he's
Cody.
hurt, and we just kicked a guy out for being hurt, but he had multiple injuries, and I think Cody is a top 6 guy for me right now.
Yeah, it's top 4 for me.
I think I might even have him at 4.
Are you? No.
I have him at 5.
Oh, God.
I have him at 5, and I stared at like moving him to 3. I was just like staring at my, but I have him at 5 right now. I love it. I watched. Oh, he looks good.
He looks confident.
Yes. I'll say Cody.
What's his injury right now? I'm blanking.
Wrist.
It's annoying.
I think I saw it in one of the games. He like went up for a dunk and got hit, and I was like, "Is that the play?" And then I was like, maybe." So I think it was just a shooting hand, maybe or something. I think they're playing it. Or no, they said he's going to be out like a month. So that was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So
also sucks. Malik Mack, mono. That's brutal.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's the worst. That sickness sucks
so bad. Oh gosh, just the worst.
Shout out to my dad, who was my soccer coach growing up, and after the period where I had it, and after I wasn't contagious anymore, he's like, "No, you're fine. Just go play." I'm like, "Well, Dad, I'm still exhausted, and my spleen is still enlarged." He's like, "What are the odds that you're going to get hit in your spleen and die?" I'm like, "Thanks, Dad. Like, I know we need bodies this weekend, but
I'll go off topic. Fine, we'll go off topic. I literally got mono, and my little league team, I was playing in the championship game, and I literally just pulled like a what's the damn baseball movie? Son of a gun. Anyways, Roy Hobbs,
the rookie.
No, Roy Hobbs, the natural. I pulled a natural and just like limped to the field, and like they went 2 for 4, and we won the title. No big deal. But yeah, it was like spleen enlarged. They're like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a kid. I want to play baseball. Let's go." Anyways, moving on.
So Cody.
Sure. Shout out mono stories during the green room. You get kicked out of the green room for mono stories.
Yeah. All right, cool. Welcome to the green room, Cody Williams.
Okay, so read me, or I'll get it off the air from you again. But okay, so
currently in Jacoby Walter, Alex Sarr, Ron Holland, Stephen Castle, Adem Bona, Zachary Risache, Nikola Topic, Cody Williams.
It's a good list.
Fun
It's a
list.
good list. And I'll put the guys that got bounced, I'll put them in yellow so that we can keep an eye on them. Justin Edwards has got to go home.
Yep.
He's scaring people in line. You got to get out of here. We can't have this, even if it's in line, we can't have this on the sidewalk. So you got to get out.
Yep. Shame.
It's a shame. It's a damn shame.
Well, Rucker, this one was a blast as always. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the time off. Hopefully, enjoy your families. Hopefully, be safe. But once again, I'm Tyler Metcalf. He is Tyler Rucker. You can find all of our stuff at NoCeilingsNBA.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and a 5-star rating. Until next time, see ya.